Good night, good evening, and welcome to Mindful Live 537. I am your host, Nathan Springer. Thank you for being here. It is currently the 7th of January in the year of our Lord 2026. Who is this next to me? It's you. When last you said hi to the people?
Hi.
Tell the people hello.
Hello.
Watch up there. Say yo, yo, yo.
Yo.
Hey, look around. He come just as you pop in, like she was waiting on you. Say what's up. Yeah. What's happening, people? What's the good? What's the good? We're out here, a brand new year. A year has finished. We're back here in 2026. Europe has a set date for all combustion vehicles to be off their roads. I don't agree with that. I don't like those things. I think those things are a bit too controlling, but Europe likes that kind of overly controlling central government business. So no surprise there. But for me, I don't like that. And you know, something that I realize when I look at this, oftentimes you hear Trinidadians complain about the loss of our culture. Our culture is being lost. The uniqueness of Trinidad and Tobago, what makes us a unique place beside every other place on the planet, those things are being lost. But then when I look at the legal decisions we make, when I look at the things we ask for, we create those conditions to incentivize that loss. It seems like we incentivize that loss. How could we ask where have all the donkey carts gone when we have made it illegal to use donkey carts? How could we ask why coconut water is so expensive when we have all these coconut trees around? Where have all the coconut vendors gone when the police prosecute coconut vendors for attempting to vend in their traditional way? Imagine for a second if a government attempts to pass a law on food sanitation that outlaws open preparation of food, which now outlaws double selling in the traditional way. And then we'd complain, oh no, where have our doubles culture gone? We outlawed it. Why are we, as a lower income nation, attempting to force first world level car and road laws on our population? Where's the order of activities in this? Okay, we're a lawless dump. We are a lawless dump. So the first thing you fix, you step into a lawless dump, you step into Mad Max Fury Road. The first thing you're going to fix is the inspection on the cars. Like, think about that. Think about lawless dump. Picture lawless dump. Isn't Mad Max Fury Road that kind of picture? Lawless dump, a dystopia? Alright. You step into Mad Max Fury Road as the supreme leader, and the first rule you come up with is road traffic laws. We in the middle of a state of emergency. We having double murders. We already reached more murders than the days of the year, while we're in a state of emergency, mind you. And our leadership, their best, most forward-thinking thought is thou shalt not have smooth tires. Is your indicator must be the perfect tone of amber. Remember the lyrics, most of what you see is just illusion, half of what you hear is not the truth. All I know is a party financier who was planning to drunk drive whole carnival season is very happy right now. Because the merit points would have affected him equally. Where's that ticket? And then our prime minister is out there pontificating on this. That, you know, this is the real thing. This is to prevent the lawlessness in the country. No apology for it. She is not backing down. She's not backing down. You know, this is the most important thing to do for the country right now. Suresh Rampasad says, well, just keep breaking the law. That's your comment. That's your comment on this discussion. That really and truly this is about breaking the law. This is about breaking the law, Suresh. Suresh. Let me be honest with you all. You know, I can't help myself. I must be honest. I must be honest. When I look at political comments in Trinidad and Tobago, I look for the demographic of the name. I'm not lying to you. I look to see where the name seems like it originated from. And it saddens me each time when political choices can be predicted by name origin. That is one of the saddest things in Trinidad and Tobago. I hate to see it. I hate to see it. And I feel like I would try my best to not seem to be a blind follower. Like, if I know these are the people who I like, I will try my utmost best to at least not look like a blind follower. I know I would blindly follow them, but I would at least try to not look like a blind follower. You understand what I mean? At least not look like it. How you mean you cannot critically look at doubling the fines and removing the demerit points and see that obviously this isn't a case of trying to stop people from breaking the law? Obviously. I mean, if you want to stop the lawless dump of Trinidad and Tobago, the first man you start with is the coconut vendor. That is how you start the lawless dump. Exactly, Reaper. This is the party that campaigned on Axe the Tax for the last 2 decades. They axing the tax. Do so and axe the tax. And then they come out here and aim to collect 10 years worth of property tax from you over a smooth tire. The Prime Minister says, re-emphasizing on this, it's not the Prime Minister, it's the police. What nonsense you're talking, Clintos? What nonsense you're talking here? If you know the police service that you have working for you is corrupt and unthinking, you're going to give them laws to increase the ability for corruption and foolishness, and then say it's not my fault, and then boast about it? They don't feel betrayed, Ronnie, because they are perfect loyalists. They are perfect loyalists. People need to go back and read Animal Farm and read about Boxer the workhorse. I feel that'll be my next short video. Boxer the workhorse. Read about Animal Farm. Boxer the workhorse. His mantra was, we will work harder, and Napoleon, who was the leader, is always right. Napoleon is always right, and we will work harder. We will work harder. Napoleon is always right. And you know what happened to Boxer in the end? He was the hardest worker on the farm when the animals took over. He made the most money for the farm. When he got injured, the pigs, who were the leaders, told the whole farm they're going to send him to the veterinary hospital and give him a good life and fix him up. They actually sent him off to the glue factory because they make glue out of horse remnants. They kill him and made glue out of him and sold him. That's what happens to you, Suresh Rampersad and Clintus, when you're loyal to politicians. They don't return your loyalty. You think you're stopped by an officer with some minor thing wrong. You think you could tell them that I was on the internet telling everybody that if you obey the lawyer right, and I was on Kamla's side on the internet. All you're not supposed to give me that 10. You think you could tell them that? You think they will care? Clinton says those laws were always there, just more money to pay. What do you mean just, Clintus? What kind of foolishness is this? So I could do something for free, or I could do something for 20,000, and it's no real difference in it. It's just 20,000. What? What kind of foolishness is that, Clintus? Like, how does that figure? The person in charge of increasing the fines and pushing for increased enforcement is not responsible for the increase of fines? That logic is on its head. That logic is on its head. Fix it or face the law, says Mrs. Prasad Bisasa, our Prime Minister. And here's the thing, this to me shows the disconnect. This shows the disconnect. Most of the laws are there to protect people on the road. You keep it, Avi, if you believe that I have a snowman down in Carney that I have to sell you. If you believe that one, Avi. These laws are to protect the people on the road. I have a snowman in Carney. Come down and check me and I'll sell that to you. Enforcers moving without mercy. They are moving at the direction of the politicians. They are moving at the discretion of the politicians. So that's why they're moving like that. Do you think the police decide on a whim? Do you think the police decide on a whim how much they're going to enforce it? If you know, I hate this kind of talk. When we go to America, we obey all laws. Why can't we do it here? Because some of the laws are, one, ridiculous. Two, in America you could cuss up the police. You could cuss up Trini police. It's not the same place. It's not the same place. It really isn't. So what am I supposed to do when someone else hits my vehicle and they don't have insurance? You carry them to the police. The same thing you're going to do if it happens now. That happens regularly. And either way, people hit you with insurance and they still don't pay. No, Suresh, I know you're loyal by your words. That's how I know you're loyal. By your words. By your words. If a person says that all this is obeying the law, then I know that they obviously haven't thought this through. How exactly are you supposed to carry them to the police? What do you mean? You take their license plate and you carry it. If they run away, they run away. What is a ticket going to do to change that reality? What's up, Trini boy? It's a stupid comparison. I hate when people use the US. Yes, it is a very foolish comparison. Are all standards in Trinidad and Tobago at the US standards? Is our government capable of the same thing that the US government is capable of? Take down someone's license plate, darling, right? Jeez. I would have thought that was understood. Even in the US, it have lawless states, and there would always be like that. Many people speak without knowledge. And yeah, this statement from our Prime Minister, to me, shows the disconnect that the ruling class has with the actual citizens. Fix it or face the law. The Prime Minister wrote that many people who got tickets knew there was something wrong with their vehicle. They knew that something was wrong with their vehicle and they were driving it anyway. That's why they deserve the ticket. And I'm saying to myself, this obviously shows that this woman has been extremely wealthy for a very long period of time. Of course, many people know that things are wrong with their vehicle and they're driving still. They don't have the money to fix it. Of course, that's why they're driving it. They do not have the money to fix it yet. Yet they still need to reach from point A to point B. Yet their children still need to go to school. Yet they still need to go to work. That's why they're driving those vehicles. Not because, as Clintos and the other boxers from Animal Farm say, because they're lawless people. That's why the reason that a single parent is packing their 3 children in a vehicle and the shocks bust in the back and they're going through all the back roads to go to school is just because that parent lawless and wicked. You know, that's why. The reason you driving with a bus shocks is because you like to hear that bradang bradang noise every time you hit a hole. That is the reason you driving with that bus shocks. You like it so. Some, Nathan, most don't put these things as priority. Joy, do you own a vehicle? Do you own a vehicle, Joy? I can tell you, nearly no vehicle owner is willingly having the money to fix it and not fixing it. And that shows the disconnect. That right there shows the disconnect. How you know they don't have the money? Because I speak to them and I know them and I might be them too. There are many people with a waiting list right now. They have to buy this next, they have to buy this next, they have to buy this next, then they have to carry it by the straightener, then they have to carry it by the electrician, and they're saving up for each thing to knock off the list. That's what they're doing. They're not out here. They're not out here running around saying, I just don't like to fix my car. Or Clintos, you now recognize this. Rich people have new cars, they don't get tickets, only poor man get tickets. So you think tickets are about lawlessness then? Is it really about lawlessness? The people who could most afford to pay tickets don't get it. Why do rich people drive vehicles that are perfectly working? And why don't poor people do it? Is it because poor people like the sound of mashup vehicles? The reason the poor man drives that vehicle that is falling apart is because he likes the feeling now. He likes that feeling. He likes the feeling of discomfort when he drives. He likes the steering having a little wobble in it. That's why he drives that vehicle. He just likes it. And the rich man, the reason he drives a vehicle with no problems is because that's what he likes. That's all. You know, he likes a good vehicle and the poor man likes a bad vehicle. So that's why they drive those vehicles. And in that case, we have to punish the poor man because he's doing that just because he likes it. The poor man doing that just because he likes it. So that's why he needs to be punished. And tell me this, To all the most loyal supporters in the comments. To all the most loyal supporters. If you think the country is too lawless and you believe politicians when they spit in your face and tell you it's real, okay, reason this with me. Why remove the demerit points? You know, if it's about making sure people follow the law, why remove the demerit points? Listen, I have a suspicion. My conspiracy is there's a party financier who lost their license in drunk driving. That's my suspicion. There's a party financier who lost their license drunk driving, and that's the only reason that the demerit points were scrapped. Because it makes no sense. If you are out here, you're a queen of law. You're the most lawful person on the planet. Why remove the demerit points? You talking from a political... How is it political? I'm not talking political here. Listen, Clintus, understand. Engage your brain. If we want to punish people equitably around the board for lawlessness, wouldn't the demerit points do just that? Wouldn't the demerit points do just that? Clintus, obviously you don't follow me, otherwise that's a foolish question. And I thought you weren't a UNC loyalist. You're saying all the loyalists talking. That's the sad thing about being sold to political sides, eh? And I'm glad about it. Y'all can't hide yourself because you don't use your own thinking. You don't use your own thinking. Higher fines worse? Are they, John Star? Are higher fines worse, really? Worse for who? Higher fines are only worse for the poor people. And I agree with the person who said that the demerit points was touching the untouchables. The demerit points started to touch the untouchables. And the boxers from Animal Farm that keep defending this don't recognize, unless you are in that category of untouchables, you are not on their team. The cash ticket affects you. You're on the poor people's side. The demerit points was what was aiming to actually solve the lawlessness. Like for me, if I found the double of the demerit points and the tickets was too oppressive, throw away the tickets and leave only demerit points. Like, this is a no-brainer for me. If I am worried about your driving, I don't want your money. I want you off the road. I want you without a license. But the demerit points when you have to get back your license, well, that one I fully agree with. I don't agree that you have to go and pay a private company to get back your demerit points. I agree with that 100%. Before it was demerit and fines, did you speak about it? Suresh Rampasad, I think this is the first time you entered my chat. This is Mindful Live 537. We haven't had 537 days inside the UNC administration. I drive a Tida, I make sure everything good in my car, I go through all roadblock, I don't have a problem. Okay, Clintus. Okay, we'll hear about you. Don't worry, we'll hear about you. We will hear about you. Because the reality is, much of our road traffic laws are subjective. I have been told this by multiple police. If you are stopped by a police and they want to give you a ticket, they could always give you a ticket. They could always give you a ticket. And if you know that you are attempting to use, you know, it's like if you have a weapon, I have a pew-pew, an arm and ammunition, and I'm attempting to do target practice on a tree in my backyard. But I know that this weapon is notoriously inaccurate. That when you pull and squeeze the trigger, the rounds go in all directions. But I want to shoot my tree in my backyard. If I pick up my weapon, pull the trigger, it sprays all around, kills random people, can I then say, well, it was actually the gun fault, boy? I didn't know the gun was going and spray all about so. I used the broken weapon. So if you're telling me you know that the police service in Trinidad is so broken, but you're going to give them the ability to take $20,000 from people in one stop, then I wouldn't blame the broken police service when they do what is expected of a broken police service. I will blame those in authority who gave them the power to do it. They should use the money from tickets to fix bad roads. Good luck with that. Good luck waiting for that one. What you think about Kamala giving people time to get their car in order? I think that's a wonderful idea. I always agreed with that. I always said this. If you were saying that the point of road traffic tickets and the enforcement of this was because you want people to do the right thing and you want the right thing happening on the road, then the first and primary thing should be a warning system. Try to get them to get things right. Exactly, Dimples, of course they're not. Of course it's not about road safety. And for those of you who keep asking whether I was saying anything in the previous administration, I had a viral video where I was speaking about those same road traffic laws, and I was making the point under the last administration that this isn't about road safety, that the very idea of seat belts is not a matter of keeping safe on the road. The reason being motorcycles are legal, yet still they are allowed on the road, and you aren't strapped into anything in a motorcycle. If it was about keeping people safe on the road, I'm sure you're safer in a car with no seatbelt than on a motorcycle. Thank you, John, sir. I would have hoped, well, anybody who is listening long enough would know that. I was lixing the enforcement under the last administration because I found it to be cruel even then. I remember when Mrs. Prasad Bissessa said it was oppressive. The reason I remember is because in this very same live, I spoke about that article and I endorsed the statement from then opposition leader highlighting that this was oppressive and you are oppressing the population. So yes, but if you get a ticket and not in the wrong, you have the court to read for redress. Right. So I should be going about my day peacefully, harming no one, and because of political decisions, I am either out of thousands of dollars or I'm out of thousands of dollars and lots of hours of my time too. Right. That makes lots of sense. That makes all the sense in the world. Nathan, the roads high congestion created more problems and accidents. I agree, high congestion is. And that's why I say, if you're serious about this, like let's go down the demerit points rabbit hole. Let's say you get extremely strict on demerit points. Extremely strict. So lots of people are losing their license. Lots of people are losing their license. Keep me on record 3 times for the same problem within a certain time, then take action. Sounds good? That sounds wonderful. I like those kind of ideas. Yeah. So you start doing the demerit points very seriously. Anyone caught doing certain things, immediately revocation of license. And it's not an inordinate fee, but you have to go through the entire process to get back your license, because obviously you didn't understand the rules of the road. Go do it over and start over again. If you do that, 1, and 2, stop bribing in the licensing office. That should be the only point to throw this whole thing out. We are here punishing the citizens of the country for lawlessness, and the punishments are coming from the licensing division, which is known to be one of the most corrupt entities and services in this country. Everybody know that 90% of the people they know that went for license paid to do it. Everybody know that. They know it's so good that the driving school asks you if you want to pay the first time you sit down in the car. It's such a known systemic thing. And that system, these geniuses are going to say, we are going to punish you for your lawlessness from them. All right. But we're going back to the demerit points. So what that would do is there would be much fewer licenses on the road. That way, you don't have to put a quota on the amount of cars coming in. You don't have to try to make some kind of unique law to stop as many cars being on the road. If there are less licenses, there are less drivers. If there are less licenses, there are less drivers. And you get those less licenses and less drivers without stealing people's money. And people don't seem to understand this. When you take $19,000 from a coconut vendor and give it to the government, that's $19,000 out of our economy that's going to be squandered. You all understand that, right? This coconut vendor, if he had that $19,000, that would have gone into probably getting some repairs for his vehicle. So a mechanic would have gotten some of that. His children's, the grocery would have gotten some of that. Maybe rent would have gotten some of that. Who knows? Maybe the pusher might get some. Who knows? Maybe the rum shop might get some. But it spreads all across the economy. The government gets it. And that $19,000 is the money wasted in half an hour of government rent. So we are now, if you are a proponent of this, you are cheering for the government taking money out of the private sector where it's much more efficiently used and dumping it into the public sector where we know it's squandered. So here all that we're doing with this. Listen the lineup of things we're doing with this. We're punishing the poor more than the rich. 1. We're using one of the most corrupt entities in the country to attempt to push a law and order standard over the citizens of the country. 2. And then on top of that, we are redistributing wealth out of the useful sector of society and putting it into the most useless sectors of society. Triple whammy of negative consequences. And people will still jump up to see, but the PNM. Like, at some point, you have to pause and look at yourself in the mirror and say, self. How far would be too far? Like, make that decision one time. Like, I understand the nature of politics. What's going on? Why are you up? The nature of politics is you choose a side oftentimes. Okay, I understand, and you choose your side. I have no hate for you choosing. But when you choose, say to yourself, self, where's the jump off point? Like, okay, I jump on the train with this group of people. At which point would I jump off the train? You must have a jump off the train point. You must have a jump off the train point. Otherwise, you're going to end up like Boxer that I spoke about previously from Animal Farm. They're going to use you till you're useless and then use you while they get rid of you. It's the nature of how the thing goes. Oh, you're a very rich man, my friend. Yes. Very, very rich when it comes to these things. You want to come too. Come tell the people hello. Come tell the people hello. Ooh. Say hi. Good night. Tell the people good night. Tell them hello. No, not my mic. Just the people. Politics shouldn't be played with driver safety and road safety. I agree. Look, Auntie Hanifa there. Tell her good night. Yeah. She very serious. Very serious. I realize that both government exploit the citizens in my fact, Dante, that's a fact. They both exploit. They both exploit. And then use the other's exploitation as an excuse for their exploitation. Don't complain about me digging out your eye because the last people dug out your eye too. The last man dig out your eye. So you had to let me dig out the next one. Wait, no, don't say nothing. Let me dig out the next. You let the last man dig out your eye. So I have to dig out the next one. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? That's such a foolish argument. Like, I remember complaining about this under the PNM because even in the 10th year of the PNM, they were still saying, but the People's Partnership and the People's Partnership did, and the people, like, it's ridiculous. That cannot be your excuse. That's why the last administration was voted out. If you are voted in now because people didn't like the last group, you can't now look back at the last group and say, but the last group was doing that. Yes, that's why people didn't want them there. Is tag they playing with us, boy? Fact. Is tag. Is catch and beat up. Is catch and beat up, and them catching right through and we only getting beat up. Them only catching and we only getting beat up. A lot will choose blindness, true. Indeed, and also they focus mostly on making citizens dependent rather than empowered. Yes, because a dependent citizen is the most loyal one. But I have a question. Are the drivers willing to relearn and change their driving habits for better? I think they are, but what are the driving habits in Trinidad that are so bad? What are the driving habits in Trinidad that we need a re-education campaign to fix? like, people say our nation's roads are very lawless. Okay. What's the lawlessness that you find there to be? And how do you think that could be re-educated out? Of course it doesn't, Dante. Of course it doesn't, and they don't care. As an Australian expatriate explained, the constant switching amongst politicians creates our demise. I kind of agree with that, but that goes down a controversial road because to some extent, it's the nature of democracy. And I don't necessarily think that democracy is always a positive, like it's a given that it's always going to work out for the better. Who says so? And the reason I ask about what's the lawlessness on the nation's roads is because I suspect that some of that is more narrative than fact. Like I think more people say our nation's roads are lawless because that's what people see, more than they can point to it and say, we keep breaking X law and that needs to fix. Well, it's things that was making the roads lawless. I do think so. I do agree. I concur. And to me, I think nations have progress that moves progressively. Progress isn't a switch that you turn on and all of a sudden we have reached the point of progress. No, progress is a process. You're going through the process of progress. I think as we go through the process of progress in our roadways, we go through the process of progress in our driving habits. So, if we were a nation at one point where our highways were dual carriageway, then the type of driving is based on that kind of roadway. As we expand to 2 lanes, we get that type of driving. We expand to 3 lanes, similarly. If our roadways are not yet first world status, I think it's unfair to attempt to make sure that the cars are. What do the long lines at licensing office mean relative to the increased fines? They mean, I suppose, lots of transfers. That's one. Quite a few transfers. A few renewals would be happening there. I suppose some people with the color changes on their vehicles, etc. Those would be accounting there. And I don't even find those things to be signs of lawlessness in the country. If a law isn't checked for, people won't follow it. Sure, BDITS. Sure. But are these long lines the usual norm at licensing office? Not all the time. Not all the time. There are sometimes long lines at licensing office, but not all the time. Sometimes. But I suppose there would be now more because people are all trying to do everything at the same time. And that's another issue. I know someone is, then their natural progress of inspection is they have to get inspected this month. But now they're going to line up in a super long line to get their inspection done, and probably all the knickknacks they have to do before inspection may have a little price increase and a little more difficulty because of this. You're actually making things more difficult for the country, and I doubt that you're going to see the comparative increase in road safety. I just doubt it. Because the things that tickets are given for, by and large, aren't the things that are going to avoid fatal road accidents. Go look at the story of a fatal road accident. Look at the car involved. The car involved is almost always inspected, or a new car. There's no ticket that's going to stop that accident. There isn't a ticket that will stop that. Licensing itself creates driving hazards, driving infractions with their locations and processes. I agree. People will become more aware though. Yes. They might. But more aware of what? More aware of what? I'm not too sure what you mean exactly by that. I think many accidents are bad drivers and accidents as in something mistakenly happens. I don't think you could ticket your way out of a mistake, and I don't think you can ticket bad drivers into being good drivers. I don't even think most of the things bad drivers do are ticketable offenses. Those people who don't know how to use roundabouts, by and large, nothing they do would give them a ticket. Anyway, people, that's all I have for now. What needs to change is the government's accountability. I agree. And truth be told, even without the demerit points, even if the fines remain whatever they were in 1970, I think if enforcement was extremely strict, there would have always been a more serious adherence to the laws. It was always about enforcement. It was never about the punishment. It was always about enforcement to me. Distractions, BDITS, distractions. I remember an officer told me that they were supposed to stop doing speed traps at night because of that very same thing. They were causing too many RTAs. The speed trap at night and people immediately trying to slam on the brake was just a bad idea. But I still see them doing speed traps at night. I still see them doing sneak attack speed traps. Like, why are you trying to sneak attack a speed trap? Like, I think you should nearly announce speed traps all along the highway. That way you get people to slow down. Isn't that the intention? Isn't the intention to get people to slow down, not to get their money? Or is it really to get their money? Anyway, people, as I said, that's all I have for now. I hope you're informed, entertained, or educated. I am Nathan Springer. This has been the Mindful Live. I'll see you guys again tomorrow for the next way. Tomorrow is if you want. Tomorrow is the one of the best days on the calendar. When I was a single, childless man, I'd have openly and blatantly said the best day on the calendar. But there are other people with their own dates that you can't say yours is the best, and you have a child and thing. It just don't seem right as a father. Anyway, big day tomorrow, but I might still do the live. You go see how that go. Put the camera, get the license number, send the ticket to the perpetrator. All right, Ronnie, don't be a hater. Don't be a hater. Not everybody could have a birthday early in January like special people. Some people have to get their birthdays at other times in the year. That's okay. Everyone can't be the same level of special. As the animals in Animal Farm said, all are equal, but some are more equal than some. Alright, people, I'm out. Laters, it was nice as always. Yeah, by Zero Effect. But as usual, if you miss the live, if you ever miss a live, make sure you are subscribed over on YouTube. Nathan Springer out there on YouTube, and you can go catch back the live. It's all there for anybody who missed any of it. Until next time, people, hold it down. Stay good. Stay inside. Outside sketchy. You don't want one of those tickets. Pain and pressure. Good night to Deadman Pesh, always over there on YouTube. Peace. I'm out.